So last classes, what we discuss is some basics of automobile engineering. Uh, what is meant by chassis, what is meant by body, and what are the other systems required for automobile engineering, and what is meant by this power unit. Power unit means it is engine. Okay, so what are the various components you can find in the engine? All these things we discuss. Okay, so still a few more systems are there regarding fuel injection system, supercharging, turbocharging, oil pumps, filters. So that we will discuss now. Okay, so first fuel injection system. So fuel injection system in diesel engines are different, and fuel injection systems in fuel supply system petrol engines are different. So diesel engines a little bit complicated, and petrol engines it is a very simple fuel supply system. Generally petrol engines we use for carburetor. Okay, but in case of diesel engines, so there will be a fuel pump, fuel injectors, all these things will be there. So for any system, the functions of the fuel supply system is it has to filter the fuel. So before supplying the fuel, so sometimes there will be some dust particles will be there in the fuel. If there is a dust particle, so it may block the nozzles and all these things. That's why, so before supplying we should filter the fuel and measure the correct quantity of fuel to be measured. Okay, so how much quantity of fuel you have to supply, that exactly the system has to be measured. At the same time, they control the rate of fuel injection and atomize the fuel into fine particles. So especially in case of a diesel engines, the fuel has to be burned means first of all we have to atomize. We have to make the fuel into very small droplets. So the system should have it has to atomize. That's why we have to use nozzles or fuel injectors. Properly distribute the fuel in the combustion chamber. So once the nozzle it sprays in the fuel into the combustion chamber, the fuel has to spread entire the combustion chamber. So if it is not spread into the entire combustion chamber, only in some part the fuel starts burning, and other part there won't be fuel burning, and there will be uneven pressure may develop. Time the fuel injection means at what time we have to inject the fuel. So we have to inject the fuel. At the same time, how much time we have to inject the fuel, that also. So we have to make the system like that. So these are the functions of the fuel injection system. So coming to this types of the fuel injection system, there are two types. One is air injection system and solid injection system. This air injection system is a very old system, and nowadays we most of the engines we are using solid injection system. So what is the difference between this air injection system and solid injection system? Air injection system means, so air is mixing with the fuel at high pressure. Okay, suppose in diesel engine we have to supply the fuel at very high pressures. So for that nowadays we are using fuel injectors. So once upon a time when we don't have a advanced fuel injectors, that time high pressure air we start using to supply the fuel into the engines. So high pressure air once we start using means we have to maintain compressors into the vehicle. So compressors start occupying more space. So that's why the system becomes more bulky. That's why nowadays we start avoiding this air injection system. We are using only solid injection system. Again, the solid injections, there are three types of injection system, common rail injection system, individual pump injection system, and a distributor system. These are the three types of solid injection systems we are using in diesel engines. So this is a common rail setup. Okay. So common rail means is a common fuel chamber, high pressure fuel chamber. See, so fuel generally it will be there in the tank. From the fuel tank, first it has to be filtered. This is a fuel filter. So after that, the fuel pump, it pumps the fuel to the common rail at very high pressure. So this is a fuel pump. So this fuel pump pumps the fuel to the common rail, where the fuel is stored at a high pressure, and there will be this is the inlet, and there are 4 outlets. These 4 outlets are connected to the 4 cylinders. See, this last outlet is connected to the 1 cylinder. So this outlet, the high pressure fuel is supplied to the fuel injector. This fuel injector injects the fuel at very high pressure. Like this, with the help of the common rail concept, so we can supply the fuel to the cylinders. This system generally we use in the diesel engines. Okay, and so the entire system we develop to create the high pressure fuel to supply to the engines. Okay, and these fuel injection systems are very costly in case of a diesel engines, whatever it may be, whether it is a common rail or individual pump or distributor system. These systems are very costly, and so that's why most of the cases diesel engines are costly. Okay, so this is a line diagram. Generally in engines, if this common rail system seems to be like this. Okay, so from the fuel tank, this is a common rail. From the common rail, there will be 4 fuel lines. These fuel lines are connected to these cylinders, 4 cylinders. So this is a individual pump system. Every cylinder had separate pump, but in this case, all the cylinders will have only one pump. With the help of one pump, we maintain the high pressures. But in this case, this is the individual pump systems. Every cylinder had separate pump. So first it takes the oil from the fuel tank, and it increases the pressure, and the high pressure fuel supplied to the cylinder. And this is a distributor system. There will be a distributor. There will be single distributor will be there. This distributor. So this is how in the distributor the fuel enters through the inlet, and there will be outlet passages. So this is some cross-sectional view. So there will be inlet, and there will be this is inlet passage, and this will be outlet passage. Center there will be distributors. When it is rotating, so one by one, its fuel will be released to the separate cylinders. Okay, so that is about the fuel supply systems for diesel engines. Okay, in case of a petrol engines, we use carburetor. Coming to the next, there will be another ignition system. Ignition systems means, in case of a petrol engine, so for burning of the fuel, we require ignition, we require spark. But in case of diesel engines, we don't require any spark and all these things. In diesel engines, fuel is burnt by high pressure compression. Okay, fuel is burnt by high pressure compression in case of diesel engine. But petrol engines, so we won't use very high pressure compression. We use moderate pressures. But here fuel is burnt by the ignition with the help of the spark plug. For that, we are using, there are the 2 types of system: battery ignition and magnet ignition. So here ignition system means, the function of the ignition system is to initiate the flame propagation process. Okay, so spark, what it will do means, it creates a small spark or flame, So this flame will propagate across the combustion chamber. When it is propagating or when it is traveling across the combustion chamber, the entire fuel starts burning. So there are two types of ignition systems. One is battery ignition system, another one is magneto ignition system. So see, so there is a battery ignition system. So there is a battery. So battery is connected to the ignition coil. This ignition coil, it initiates the, it passes the current to the spark plug. Okay. And from the ignition coil, there is some contact breaker will be there. Whenever there is a circuit closes here, it supplies the spark. Okay, like this, the timing is set by this camshaft. So camshaft, the valve mechanism, with the help of the camshaft, here the timing of the ignition is set up. Like this, this ignition coil, it releases the power, and the spark plug, it releases the spark. Okay, so this is the line diagram for the battery ignition system. So battery is connected to the this is ignition coil. Here in the ignition coil, there will be primary winding, secondary winding, and it okay, and through ignition coil, there is some high voltage, this power sent to the distributor. So since here there are 4 cylinders, the distributor, 1 minute. Hello. Sir, ఈరోజు 21 students. Yes, sir. Under CA. No absent, sir. Your list. So this distributor, it distributes the timing for the 4 cylinders. Okay. So this is some actual diagram for the battery ignition system. Here, if you observe, there is a battery. So battery is connected. So there is a key. Once if you start the key, so battery, it takes power from the battery, and the power, it goes to the ignition coil. So again, ignition coil is connected to the distributor as well as contact breaker. Okay, and the distributor, it distributes the power to the 4 spark plug based on the contact breaker and the timing. Okay, the spark plug, so it releases the spark for flame propagation. So there is not only battery, there is another advanced ignition system, that is electronic battery ignition system. In case of electronic battery ignition system, so here also it is very similar to the battery ignition system, but there is some electronic module will be there, electronic ignition module. So based on the electronic ignition module, so here the mechanism is simple. Okay, so based on the electronic ignition module, here the spark plug timings will be spark plugs, it releases the spark. So this electronic ignition module is arranged in between the ignition coil and the battery or power. Coming to the so that is about the ignition. So cooling systems, there are cooling system is very, very important for effective working of any engine. Okay, so why cooling systems are required means you should capable of removing 30% of heat generated in the combustion chamber while maintaining the optimum temperature of the engine under operating conditions of the engine. Okay, So generally in engine it generates more heat, more power. So, so if you and if you are unable to remove this excess amount of heat, what happens means the engine may get damaged. Okay. So engine generally we have to maintain at some standard operating conditions. Standard operating conditions means the temperature should not exceed certain limit. But by burning of fuel, generally it releases more amount of heat. That excess amount of heat we have to remove with the help of the cooling system. Okay. So for that, generally there are two types of cooling systems: air cooling and liquid cooling. Okay. Generally in small engines we use air cooling, and bigger engines and we have to use liquid cooling. Generally scooter engines, if you observe, so outside the engines there will be many plate type structures called as fins. So these fins, what is the use of these fins means, so by providing these fins it increases the surface area of the engine. Once surface area increases means it transfers more amount of heat from the engine to the atmosphere. Like this air cooling can be provided in small engines. So these are the fin structure in scooters, motorbikes. And in liquid cooling there are again there are for bigger engines and multi-cylinder engines, generally liquid cooling can be provided, okay, by the circulation of water or liquids. Okay. So here there will be again two types: thermosiphon system. Thermosiphon system means that is natural circulation. Here there won't be any pump. So only once in radiator there will be, through radiator we fill the liquid. So liquid is completely filled with the radiator and engine casing. Once it gets heated, what happens means the heated liquid, it moves up, again it comes to this radiator. Here in radiator there will be a fan. So due to the fan, again it gets cooled. The cold liquid again it comes down. Like this there will be natural circulation based on the temperature difference. So this system is called as a thermosiphon or natural circulation liquid cooling system. There are another one is there, that is forced circulation liquid cooling system. Here, so this same thing, only additional attachment is a pump will be there. The pump is attached to the radiator. So this pump, it continuously it pumps the liquid into the system. Okay. So due to the pumping, so it removes more amount of heat from the engine. Like this, effective cooling can be provided in case of forced circulation. Okay. So this is the same diagram. Okay, this is a radiator, air enters. Okay, and this is engine, and a fan is attached to the crankshaft of the engine, or some fan. It rotates by taking power from the engine. There will be 4 cylinders. There will be water jackets outside the engine casing. Here water it is circulated, and hot water it moves to the radiator top side, and again it flows into the radiator, and from bottom again it enters into the engine. So this is this is liquid cooling diagram. So this is some three-dimensional diagram for a cooling system. So this is a radiator. So top of the radiator there is a cap. Through this cap we fill this water. From bottom it enters into the engine. Okay. And it circulates and it takes the heat, and again it comes to the top of the radiator. So, so now we have discussed the liquid cooling cooling systems. There are two types of cooling system: air cooling and liquid cooling. Coming to the another important system in automobiles, lubricating system. This lubrication is very important, okay, for effective functioning of the engine, especially engine. For engine, effective lubrication is required. So, because in engine there are so many moving parts are there. Wherever there is a moving part, there the lubrication is required. Otherwise, what happens means there is a wear and tear happens, and due to wear and tear, the life of the component comes down, and with a short time it gets damaged. That's why to increase the life of any moving part, we must provide a lubrication system. The function of the lubrication system is lubrication is the admittance of oil between two surfaces having relative motion. Admittance means you must provide oil between the two surfaces when there are in relative motion. The objective of the lubrication is it reduces the friction between parts having relative motion. So when there are two moving parts, so automatically due to this direct contact there will be a friction. When there is a friction means heat generates. Okay, so you want to reduce the friction means we must provide lubrication to reduce wear of the moving part, to cool the surfaces by carrying away heat generated due to the friction, to remove dirt and grit. Again, what happens means between the these moving parts there will be some dust particles and all these things will be there. So we have to remove all these things. We must provide lubrication. See, so here there are again there are few types of lubrication systems. One is splash lubrication system. Another one is pressure lubrication system. So this is a splash lubrication system. In case of a splash lubrication system, bottom of the connecting rod there will be some hook type component will be there. Bottom of this connecting rod. So here bottom of the connecting rod, or we can call it the big end of the connecting rod, there will be a small hook will be there, and here in crankcase there will be a lubricating oil. When it comes down, what happens means it takes the oil and it splashes to the top of the piston. So like this, when it splashes means some oil it goes to the piston and connecting rod. This connecting rod spins, piston rings like this. See, the lubricating oil is splashed into different components of the engine. So such kind of system is called as a splash lubrication system. There is another system is pressure lubrication system. Here pressure lubrication system means, so there will be oil pump in the sump. We keep this on oil pump. This oil pump is connected to the different points of the engine. The oil pump is connected to the crankshaft. Oil pump is connected to the connecting rod. Oil pump is connected to the, like this, bearings. Like this, it is connected to the different parts. Like this, here we are providing lubrication. So this kind of system is called as a pressure lubrication system. So in lubrication there are two types. One is splash lubrication, another one is pressure lubrication. Okay. So that is about the lubrication. So and the another important topic is supercharging and turbocharging. Okay, both are a little bit similar. Supercharging means, see, the supercharging concept we use, you want to generate more amount of power. The supercharging concept we want to generate more amount of power. How to generate more amount of power? You want to generate more amount of power, what happens? We want to increase the fuel supply to the engine. Okay, if you supply the more amount of fuel, what happens means more amount of fuel will burn. If you want to burn more amount of fuel, what is required? Air is required. Okay. Even if you supply more amount of fuel, all the fuel cannot burn. Okay. With a small amount of air, the entire fuel cannot burn. Okay. You want to burn the entire fuel means what happens means you have to supply more amount of air. Then only complete combustion is taking place. Okay. In case of a source supercharging, we use the concept of complete combustion. For complete combustion, what is required means more amount of air is required. Okay. Like this, by increasing the air capacity of an engine is called as supercharging. So supercharging means here is in case of supercharging we have to send more amount of air to the engine. Okay, like this we can supercharge. Supercharge means you have to send more amount of air. You want to send more amount of air, what is required? We must use some air pump or something. The method of supplying air or air fuel mixture at a pressure higher than the naturally aspirated pressure into the cylinder is called supercharging. Okay. At high pressure we have to supply air. A supercharger in an air compressor that increases. So here we have to use at high pressure we have to supply the air means what to do? We have to keep one air compressor. So at high pressure we are supplying automatically the density of the air also it increases. Okay, like this, if you supply more amount of air, there will be more amount of oxygen. If there is more amount of oxygen means the more amount of fuel can burn. Finally, it produces more amount of power. That is the concept in case of supercharging. So this is a light diagram. See, so this is a cylinder. Okay, so generally engine cylinder takes air from the atmosphere. But here what happened? Here there is a compressor is there. The compressor takes air from the atmosphere and it compresses and the compressed air will now here we are sending into the engine through intercooler. Intercooler means air cooler means once air is get compressed means the temperature increases. Again the temperature here again we are reducing and at high pressure and low temperature air will send to the engine. So this is the concept of supercharging. In case of supercharging, you have to send more amount of air into the engine at high pressure. So there are different types of superchargers are there. So here superchargers are classified into positive displacement supercharger and dynamic compressor type supercharging. In case of positive displacement supercharging, there is a Roots blower and vane type compressors comes under positive displacement supercharger. Dynamic compressor type supercharger means centrifugal compressor we can take as a dynamic type supercharger. So Roots blower type supercharging means Roots blower also is a one type of compressor. It is a positive displacement type compressor. Okay. So inside the Roots blower, okay. Inside the Roots blower, what happens means there will be two rotors will be there. The two rotors are also it is in the shapes of a lobes. These shapes we can call as a lobes. Okay. So it seems to be a the shape. So if you observe the shape of the groundnut, so like this is a similar shape. This is called as a lobes. There are two rotors. Okay, rotors are in the shape of a lobes. When the two rotors so this is inlet, air enters. When these two rotors are rotating, the air enters and the between these lobes of the rotor it occupies and it gets compressed when it rotates and the compressed air enters into this engine. It's a Roots blower. And dynamic type supercharger or centrifugal supercharger, there will be centrifugal compressor will be there. In centrifugal compressor, from center air enters, there will be veins. Okay, once air is moving through these veins, okay, the kinetic energy of the compressor or veins or rotor transferred to the air. Okay, like this kinetic energy increases, and when it comes to the outer casing, again the kinetic energy is converted into pressure energy, and high pressure air will supply to the engine for supercharging. Okay, so this is a vane type supercharger. So the central there is a rotor. Rotor there will be so many slots will be there. Through the slots there will be vanes. These vanes also, it is a adjustable vanes. When it is rotating, so air enters. Okay, between the vanes and outer casing there will be, so in particular part the air enters, it occupies. When it is rotating means, from when it is rotating from one side to other side, air automatically gets compressed, and the compressed air is applied to the engine. Okay, so like this, through different types of compressors we can supercharge the engines. So what is the effect of supercharging? So we can increase the power, high induction of charge, and output. So the high output can be achieved, and in case of supercharging, better automation of fuel and mixing with air. So since more amount of air is there, means mixing will be better. Better scavenging of combustion products. Scavenging means sending inside combustible gases from the engine to the outside is called as scavenging. So since more amount of air is there, there will be better scavenging of combustion products. Better torque. When there is a more power means torque also increases. Quicker acceleration of the vehicle. Pickup will be more. Chances of complete combustion with reduction in knocking tendency. Once there is a complete combustion means automatically this knocking will reduce. Good in cold starting problems. Okay, so there won't be any cold starting. Poor ignition quality fuel may also be used. Sometimes with the help of supercharging, with poor ignition quality, that is less grade fuel also can be used as a fuel in the engines. There is another concept called turbocharging. Okay, generally in practice, generally it is called as a turbo. Turbocharging means turbo. Generally most of the vehicles we can find there is a turbo. Okay, turbo means, so this is a concept. With the help of the exhaust gases, we have to run the compressor, and with the help of compressor again we have to send the atmospheric air into the, we have to send the air at high pressure into the engine. Actually we want to run the compressor means it requires power, but in case of the turbocharging, without any external power, only with the help of exhaust gases we are running the compressor. Okay, so that is called as turbo. So turbocharging is a method which is used to force air or air fuel mixture into engine at pressure greater than the atmospheric pressure by using exhaust gases coming out from the cylinder. Okay, so this device is called as turbocharger. Okay, a turbocharger consists of turbine, shaft, compressor, and air cooler. Okay, the compressor of the turbocharger is powered by a turbine mounted on the exhaust flow of the engine. Here the compressor is operated by exhaust gases. The advantage of this is that the engine shaft output is required to drive the compression. engine shaft output is required to drive the compressor. It's not required. The waste energy in the exhaust gases is converted into mechanical energy by rotating element of the turbine. This mechanical energy is applied to the compressor. Here, see, we'll see the diagram. So this is engine, the exhaust gases, okay, it goes to the turbine, it rotates the turbine. The turbine is connected to the compressor. Again, once turbine is rotating means compressor also it rotates. Once compressor rotates means it takes air from the atmosphere and it gets compressed and the compressed air sent to the engine. Like that. Here, so for compressor we are not supplying any power. So how the compressor is working? With the help of the exhaust gases. With the help of the exhaust gases, turbocharger. So this turbine and compressor we call as a turbocharger. With the help of the exhaust gases, the turbocharger starts working and it supplies high pressure air to the engine cylinder. Okay. So turbocharging also it's a similar to the supercharging, but how it is operated? With the help of exhaust gases, a turbocharger. So this is a turbine. Right side portion is called as a turbine, and turbine is connected to the compressor. Okay, this turbine is operated by the exhaust gases, and it starts rotating. Once it rotating means automatically compressor also starts rotates, and it takes air from the atmosphere and high pressure air it supplied to the engine. So this is a line diagram. This blue indicates air, and this red indicates exhaust gases. The exhaust gases, when it leaves the engine, it enters into the turbocharger. It rotates the turbocharger. The turbocharger, this turbine, the turbine is connected to the compressor. Once compressor rotates means it automatically takes air from the atmosphere and high pressure air supplied to the engine. So now we'll see the advantages of turbocharging. The advantage of turbocharging, it increases the power output of the engine. With same size of the engine, we can produce more amount of power. It reduces fuel consumption. Thermal efficiency also it increases due to efficient combustion. No need to give energy to run the compressor. So from the crankshaft. So these are the advantages. Okay. So today we have discussed fuel supply systems and lubrication systems, cooling systems, and supercharging and turbocharging. Okay. So fuel supply systems we have discussed. So there are two types of systems, that is air injection system and solid injection system. Air injection system is very olden type systems. Nowadays we are not using. We are using solid injection systems. Solid injection systems again there are three types. Okay, common rail system, individual pump system, and a distributor system that we have discussed in detail. After that, ignition system. There are ignition system means generally for petrol engines we use ignition system. There are two types: battery ignition and magnetic ignition system. Okay. In case of we discuss how battery ignition system works. So in battery ignition system there are three important: battery and ignition coil and distributor. Okay. So battery supplies power. Okay, ignition coil means it works as something like a transformer. Okay. So here this high voltage the power releases to initiate the spark. Okay, and the distributor it sets the timing at what time it it has to release the spark that was decided by the distributor. Okay. Similarly, electronic battery ignition system also we have discussed. Cooling systems means there are two types: air cooling and liquid cooling. Air cooling means generally small engines with the help of fins we provide air cooling. For bigger engines, liquid cooling must be required. Okay. So this is the liquid cooling. Similarly, lubrication system also is required for engine components. Okay, to reduce the friction, reduce the wear and tear for effective functioning. There are two types: one is splash lubrication system, another one is pressure lubrication system. Another important thing is supercharging. You want to increase the power of the engine, you have to supercharge. Supercharge means sending more amount of air at high density, high pressure is called supercharging. Okay, for that we have to use compressor. We have to send the if you use compressor and compressed air, if you send, we can supercharge and we can produce more amount of power. There are different types of superchargers. Okay, we have discussed. Okay, and another very important thing is nowadays most of the vehicles you can find we can call it a turbo engine. The particular engine is called as turbo engine. Turbo engine means the engine is turbocharged. That means there is a one component will be there, one turbo. So there, okay, exhaust gases, it enters into the turbo and it runs the compressor, and compressor it takes the air from the atmosphere and it increases the pressure and sends to the engine. Like this we can increase the power of the engine with the help of the turbo. Okay. So today we discuss, next class we will discuss the oil pumps and oil filters. Okay. So what are the different, what is oil pump and how it works, what are the different types. Similarly oil filters. Okay. And there is one more concept is there, crankcase ventilation. What is crankcase ventilation, that we will discuss in the next class. So any doubts? Are you listening? Dots please. ఉన్నారు కదా అందరూ? స్టాప్ రికార్డ్. హ్యాంగ్ అయిందా? హలో